Hi, I'm Reggie Turner, and I'm here with Jim Miller and Terrence Moore. The Flip Side starts right now. Welcome to the show. Today we're joined by Vedette Coleman. She is the Executive Director of the Association of African American Museums. Vedette, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What's going on? Can you see me?
Yes, we have you just fine.
Great.
So Vedette, tell us about the Association of African American Museums, because I think many in our community may not have heard of your organization.
Oh, well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. And AAAM, well, the Association of African American Museums, which we call AAAM, not to be confused with AAA, because if you call us and you want your tires changed or you need roadside assistance, we will not be able to assist you. I'm sure some members will be, but I will not be coming. But AAAM is a nonprofit member organization, and we were founded through a Black art protest movement, because Black artists and Black curators and preservationists and the like did not see themselves in museums. So it was more like an idea that formulated to make sure that we stayed relevant and make sure that our stories were being preserved and interpreted correctly. So when we were founded in 1978, our founders were very, very interested in making sure that our members had the resources that they needed in order to stay vibrant and stay alive. So we do all of this work through advocacy, and we've just been doing it since 1978, and we're so excited to be around for the past 44 years. It's truly a blessing.
Now, where is your office headquartered?
We are in Washington, D.C., and then we also have another office in Baltimore County. And we're just so thankful to be able to have this type of movement, but also the growth that we've had. Our goal is to eventually start having regional offices where we can serve our members to the utmost of our ability. So, but right now, we are on the East Coast in Baltimore County and also DC.
Excellent.
So thank you for appearing. My question is, talk to me about your background and how you came to have this position.
Well, I don't think we have enough time for my background, but in a nutshell, what I wound up doing is right after college, right after high school, I made sure that I went to an HBCU. So I went to Virginia State University in Petersburg, Virginia. And the reason I wanted to go, Historically Black College and University, for those who do not know what the acronym is for an HBCU, but the reason I wanted to go to an HBCU is because I wanted to be connected to the stories and the people who have always been slighted. And there was just something magical about stepping foot on the campus of Virginia State University, knowing that former slaves and their descendants received their degrees from there. So while I was there, I majored in history. And I also had an internship at the university library, services, but it was actually the archives. And at the time, I was really excited about it because we were digitizing our records and the like. But I learned very quickly that I did not have the personality for an archivist. I spoke too much for the people who were coming in to do their research, and quickly learned that I could do other things. So I became the university art curator for a little bit during homecomings and founders days. And it was just an amazing experience. So directly after that, I did some time at Rutgers and fell in love with public history. So then I transferred over to Howard University because they had a public history program. And then I received my master's And also, while I was there, I had a couple of internships that were really, really cool, helping the African American Civil War Museum get their monument into the National Park Service. And then I started working at the Park Service not too far after that as a grants management specialist. And the beauty of that role is I was able to work with so many organizations and so many people who were trying to preserve their slighted history. And I was absolutely honored and thrilled to be able to, on through such a grand agency like the National Park Service, to just be able to touch folks in a way in which they haven't been able to allow people to hear their stories. So I did that for 11 years, and then this position came through, and I applied, and the board hired me. And I've been here. I was just telling Reggie that March 1st will be my third year here at AAAM, and I'm just so honored and humbled by being here as the executive director.
The museums that you represent, can you give us insight into the volume of history that you're finding that has been or that they're finding that has been largely untold and not available for public consumption? Is it as significant as I think it would be, or what has your experience been?
So our museums are quite unique, where our museums are built with community first. So as they're being established, they collect from their local community. And then if they are a national museum, the local community and then also the region. But if they're a national museum, then they go ahead and start collecting nationally. The main thing that's important to that question that you posed, Jim, is that because of the way that we collect, a lot of the stories that are being preserved are largely known in the African American community. There's things like you can walk into just about any African American museum and you'll see a hot comb. I shouldn't say any, but it is in the collection somewhere. And the hot comb to us, it was a pressing tool that African American women and some men also used on their hair, but that might be something that the general public would not know what a hot comb is. And I can give you an example. I was in a class one day and we had to bring in these artifacts at Rutgers, and I brought out my hot comb, and there were some of my classmates that were just like, so you mean to tell me that you take this comb, you put it on the stove, and then you press your hair? And I'm like, it's really no different than what your grandparents did with the actual iron, making their hair straight. So, it's little things like that. But then there's this, there's more diving that's happening here lately, where our museums are receiving grants to go into bodies of water to find slave ships. So we have things like the National Museum of African American History and Culture that have found a couple of slave ships that have been obscure because there haven't been the funds to do that. And then there's a lot of our museums that are collecting civil rights history, as folks in the neighborhood are saying, you know what, I've had all of this stuff that I never even thought was worthy to be in a museum, but here you go. And now we have whole collections of civil rights history that are actually popping up these days.
Thank you for being here. When you mentioned hot comb, I have 6 sisters and my mother was a beautician for over 30 some years. I smelt the hair burning in the air. It just smelled like a weekend or Easter Saturday, right? So I did see here that it's not just museums, as you mentioned, it's also professionals who help preserve and protect African American history, culture, and art as well. How does one become a member, and what does your member base look like right now, if you know total numbers or estimates?
Yeah, sure. So becoming a member of AAAM is fairly easy. You have to be in our field in some type of way. So you could be be in one of the African American museums, or you could be in a museum period. And, because you interpret and protect African American history and culture, or you have an interest in it in some type of way, you want to do it correctly, right? AAAM is for you. It's just a matter of going to our website, blackmuseums.org, and then clicking on join, and then join us, and then you sign up through there. But also we have tons of cultural institutions, plantation homes that are members, folks who work in historic preservation are members. And it's just, to me, we are the premier organization for folks who really want to know how to interpret African American and African art, correctly, from the beginning to the end. We also have some members that have signed up who are reimagining their interpretation. And that's really exciting because they want to work with descendant communities. They want us to reach out and have stakeholders meetings for them. So we will support whomever wants to be a part of AAAM to the best of our ability to make sure that they have the resources needed to do that.
That's great. And just one more follow-up. I did see online as well, there's a mentorship that's tied to it as a benefit as well. Yes. How does that work? What does that look like?
So we're still piloting our mentorship program, but the way that it works is you go into the system, and we have an automated mentor match program that you can say, hey, I'm a historian, but I really love to work in historic preservation. And at that point, the system will find other folks in the portal that say that they are historic preservationists. The main thing that we're trying to work on is what happens if you sign up as a member and you're not identifying yourself. You're just saying, hey, I'm Vedette, I want to be a member, and you're not putting your title there. Then the system can't match you up. But at that point, you as the individual who needs a mentor, you can reach out to us through info@blackmuseums.org, and we will find a mentor for you.
With that, we're going to pause right there. We hope that you can stay with us to tell us more about your wonderful organization. So we'll be right back after these messages.
Did you know that Wi-Fi connects multiple devices in your home? So go ahead. Surf, game, or simply watch your favorite shows and movies anywhere in the house on any device. With Wi-Fi, your house becomes a high-tech home.
Unleash the internet in your home with Antietam Ultra Wireless Home Network. With speeds up to 1 gig, your whole family can surf together faster. We make it easy with our hassle-free professional installation. Call Antietam Broadband today and add a Wi-Fi modem free for 60 days.
For more than 10 years, the University System of Maryland at Hagerstown has been providing a local higher education option for students in the Quad State region. With more than 20 undergraduate and graduate programs from 6 Maryland State universities, there are many opportunities to earn your degree while saving on the cost of commuting.
Financial benefits to attending the program have been significant.
USMH. Academic excellence, outstanding value.
Every piece of jewelry really, if you step back from it, has more to do with the emotion behind the person that's giving the gift. That transcends whatever the value, the material value of the item is. It is something that has such meaning that, we see generations many years later. And they have the story about how great-grandfather gave this to great-grandmother, where it was, and those kinds of things. And so it's the love that's between two people that really transcends the item itself.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport? Conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore, we have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
Hi, I'm Mr. Copyquick, and at my shop, we offer many products to help market your business. Let me show you a few ideas. We offer stunning graphic design, quality printing, addressing and mailing too. Need a trade show display? We create booths that draw a crowd. Does your retail signage need a facelift? We can help. We can even turn your vehicle into a full-time salesman. Stop by and see us today. Other printers might be nearby, but no one else comes close to CopyQuick.
Looking for a communications partner who'll go the extra mile? With hundreds of fiber miles across Washington County, scalable solutions for companies of all sizes, and professional on-site installation, Antietam Broadband means business. Call Antietam to get business class internet with speeds up to 1 gig, or maximize your savings in a business bundle, internet and phone with unlimited nationwide calling. Call Antietam Business Solutions, 301-797-5000, or go online at antietamBroadband.com/business.
Welcome back to the show. Your board of directors is like a who's who from around the country in regards to their service in all the museums. I mean, you have quite a collection of talent there. Talk a little bit about your board, you know, their vision going forward and how you guys work together to execute that vision.
Well, thank you. Our board is very special. So the thing I love about our board is for just about across the whole entire, I'm going to keep saying board, but yeah, across the board, everyone is in a museum of some sort, or the cultural field. And with our new board members that just came on, we have like a National Park Service superintendent. So that's really cool because, you know, she is part of an agency that is changing the way that they do interpretation and being a little bit more in your face with how they're doing African American history and culture. But the way that the board is selected is folks have to be in the field, and then they have to have a desire to want to change or be change agents for AAAM. They also have to want to be of service. That's really important for not just me, but then just the vitality of AAAM. We've always been a service-minded organization. So, you know, we're always like, you got to make sure that you want to do some, you know, you wanted to be of service because they are a working board. But, you know, please don't let the working board deter anybody who's interested. But it's really just also being in sync. So we have we meet the executive committee and I meet every month. And then the board meets quarterly with me. And then we do some skill building and then also training just to make sure that we're being on the pulse of what the field needs. And then sometimes they just bring things to me and say, Vidette, I heard that this was going on and we need to remedy it really, really quickly. You know, this museum might not come back after COVID. What can we do? And we've been working in tandem on those things as well.
And that brings me to another point when you were talking about some of the challenges of the museum. Can you speak to the challenges of small museums, of what they're seeing through COVID and how they may need to evolve to survive?
So the cool thing about our museums, whether they are small, medium, big, we work from a standpoint of always being in dire need of something. So we always have to make something out of nothing. So I mean, I know I shouldn't say beauty, but when COVID hit, you know, we were all really concerned because the African American community was one of the top communities that was being hit by COVID, and we were losing people left and right. But also, our museums had to temporarily close. And with temporarily closing, you know, we had to quickly pivot to figure out, well, what's next? And the crazier thing, though, Reggie, is that a lot of us, myself included, had in our strategic plan that we needed to do more virtual programming, more, you know, webinars, more of everything to really just let people see us. And the silver lining of COVID is we had no choice but to do it. So I
Right.
saw nothing but virtual programming. I mean, from our office, but then also from our members. People start getting really, really creative and doing like FaceTime one-on-one tours of the organization or of their museum. And then sometimes it would just say, you know, well, come and join us on Zoom. We have this open portal. Just come and take a tour with us. And it was just an amazing way to stay connected, not just to their members, but also to the local community. But then they also started branching off and finding new people who were interested in their work as well. So while COVID has been crazy, there is no other way to put it. It's just also been a silver lining for all of us. I mean, even the way that you can do fundraising is completely different. You know, before it was kind of passing, not all of our museums were dependent upon this, but, you know, it was kind of like passing the plate. If somebody came into your museum space and they liked you enough to drop something in your donation box, but now, you know, if they're watching you online, you can have a little donation button really quickly, and they just, you know, they, for the most part, it's either Cash App or PayPal. And no, we are not getting paid by those people, but I'm just saying a portal like that was a great way to also get funds from the people who enjoyed your programming.
Got it. Jim.
So let's talk about funding for a minute, because you brought up a very good point there. Obviously, it takes money to run these. It takes money to expand the exhibits and expand the reach of the good work that you're doing. I'm assuming across the country with the various museums that are member organizations and that you support. Can you speak to how your organization is funded? How those, and then secondarily, how those funds are used to support the mission of the various, of your central organization, as well as the various museums that you support?
So the way that AAAM is funded through memberships, through donations, and then through grants and cooperative agreements. So as far as the grants are concerned, we sometimes go after federal funds and then also private donors. And that's really how we've stayed afloat. And then also our conferences. We have an annual conference every year in August, and it floats throughout the country. This year we'll be in Miami. That was the selected city. And then next year I'm not allowed to share that until after Miami. But you know, we just float around the country to member organizations, and that's one of our biggest fundraisers. But it's also, it serves as a double purpose, because usually, all the time at conference, we use that time as professional development, but then also it's like a recharge of sorts. The things that our members as professionals deal with on the front lines is way different than, you know, somebody is dealing with at a historical society. And there's no knock to that. It's just when you're on the front lines of an African American museum, you might have somebody say to you, you know, well, if we were in the 1800s, you would be my slave. And that's crazy. Yeah. So, you know, with that, our conferences are allowing you to allowing our members to have a recharge of sorts. There are things that are specific to our members that only our members go through. And it's a time for renewal and just to become re-energized, so that you can go back and still have a job when you continue to work. But that's for the most part how we raise funds and how we operate. But our members are pretty much the same, donors and off of memberships, but, you know, also the revolving door of having people come and visit your site. You're on mute, Jim.
You need to stop using the mute button. What about on the expense side of that? How do you allocate those funds? Obviously there's overhead costs that everybody has, but what about supporting the mission? Can you describe how the funding that you get supports the mission outside of the administrative costs of running the organization?
Absolutely. Well, for the most part, when I receive grants, I always make sure that I am writing my members into the grant in some type of way. And what that's looking like for what that has been looking like for the past 2 years is just for us to collect data for our members so that we can go after more funding, because we haven't had data in quite some time. So we're not we don't have any re-granting funds yet, which I hope to get within the next couple of years. I'm going to be moving very, like laser focused, trying to do that. But what I've been focusing on the most is collecting data to figure out what our members need, because the funders want to see that. I can tell them until I'm blue in the face that our members don't have the resources that they need, but they want to see that. Also, to be able to maintain our office is a big deal. I am the first executive director in several decades. And just to be able to have me and the staff here in some capacity is really, it's really an honor and a privilege. So some of our grant funds go towards that. And a lot of the grant funds that we've been receiving are building capacity of the organization. So that's where majority of our funds go, figuring out what our members need so that we can be the best organization as possible for them, but then also capacity building to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to stay here, to remain relevant, and to be of service to our membership.
So I noticed on your webpage, as I was looking at it, there's actually a Donate Now button. So I'm assuming you can get donate for members or for viewers that are interested in donating. They could go to your webpage and click on that.
Yes, www.blackmuseums.org. Thank you so much for that, Jim. If you click on that button, then you can donate. A lot of people do that. I can tell you that when COVID hit, there was an influx of donations that were coming through, not just to AAAM, but then also to our member museums. And I was, we were bee's knees about the whole thing through the field writ large. But I always say, if you make that one donation that month, maybe also think about investing into the organization on a monthly basis, even if it's $10, $5, $1, whatever you can afford, to make sure that the vitality of that museum continues and that they're there, because we don't want to be a fad. So.
You had mentioned one other follow-up, just because I don't want to forget it. You had mentioned a comment that somebody made that was not good. I don't know whether that was supposed to be a joke or not, but it wasn't a funny joke by them, obviously.
Yes.
So, my point, though, is this. I would hope and I would expect that one of the goals of these, in addition to preserving the history, is to help those that might be inclined to make those type of comments, help to change their minds and hearts. Can you point to examples, or have you seen examples where that has been the case?
Well, it's difficult to change the minds and hearts of people who don't like you because of the color of your skin or because of your gender. But what we've been able to do, or what our museums, I feel, are able to do, just make sure that people have the information. I can give you an example of one of our museums, actually the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum. They have several images, artifacts of just everything that happened during civil rights in Mississippi. And walking through that space in 2019, when we had our conference there, I remember walking into this area where they had the names of everyone that had been lynched in Mississippi scroll across the screen. And there were two Caucasian men in there crying, like sobbing. And when I walked in, I felt, first of all, I didn't know I was walking into that area. There's no like, the way that the museum was designed was absolutely phenomenal. And I feel like all of our museums do a really good job, but they don't warn you of what you're about to encounter, because we weren't warned through history of what we were going to encounter. So it gives you a different type of experience. But when I walked into that area and saw them sobbing, one of the gentlemen turned around and he said, "I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I said, "You know, what are we apologizing for?" And he said, I had no clue that, you know, my ancestors did this. I had no clue that even maybe just my dad's generation and my grandfather's generation, I don't even have to go back, you know, 100 years or 300 years or 400 years. This was 2 generations before me that may have done this. And I'm just so sorry. And that to me is what our museums are here for. They're here to teach, but, you know, and then hopefully you'll walk away with something that makes you have a change of heart if you're, you know, in that space. And the thing that I also like about that museum is there are 2 sides to it. There's the civil rights side, and then there's the side for Mississippi history, all of Mississippi history from Native American on up. And you can choose which side you want to go to, but you're going to be confronted with the civil rights side first. And the thing that I like about that is it's in your face and it's showing you that you cannot ignore it. And then hopefully you'll learn a lot from a visit like that. But I feel like all of our museums do that. That's just one example. And I hope that my members don't yell at me, but I can give the disclaimer by saying we were just in Mississippi, guys. So I can lean on the fact that we were just there for conference and you know, not get in too much trouble, because I can't say that I have any favorites.
What I was thinking of as well is there's a uniqueness to African-American museums, because you have to do the work inside of the museums as well as do the work outside in our communities, either strengthening the community or bringing awareness to some of the social change that's required for us to move forward as a country. Can you talk to some of that work that has been inspired, especially throughout COVID, as we've seen a greater focus turn to social justice in our country?
Sure. So the thing that I love about this work is our museum professionals are opportunists, men. I mean, they are, you know, there'll be something going on and you can guarantee that there are at least 100 curators out there grabbing signs, grabbing, you know, pins, bandanas, whatever you can think of. Water bottles, well, not through COVID. Nobody wants somebody to use water bottle through COVID, but you know, any memorabilia that will help tell the story of what was going on at the time. And it's just one of those things that's inside of us. I feel that if you're working in this field, and you know, people, I know my mom used to laugh at me, and now my husband does all the time, that, you know, historians are pack rats. You know, you're just like, well, here's this lotion, you know, I was using that, but it was also my grandmother's favorite lotion. And before you know it, there was a whole story as to why, you know, that was your grandmother's favorite lotion, because maybe it was invented by an African American and you had absolutely no clue, but it's part of a collection. So I think that the thing that is important to note when we're talking about how we collect during social justice and just how we collect in general, as I'm talking about lotion, and we know that has nothing to do with social justice, but you know, just how we collect in times of what folks will say is turmoil or are turmoil. It's really about making sure that those stories are not slighted and forgotten. And those are the things that I love about this field. I mean, where else can you know, just walk outside and, you know, yeah, there's a Black Lives Matter, you know, protest happening, but in doing that, you might see where somebody had no business being there and they were being a troublemaker, and you took a picture, or, you know, there was a flag that somebody put up on a church. And you know that flag had absolutely no business being there, but the story that comes out of that you know, when you speak to those members about, not my members, but the members of the church, about how having that flag sit at their church, like, how did you feel? And they can give you an instant account of it, and you can collect that as part of an oral history. I just feel that there is just something so special about the work that we do.
Oh, no, that's amazing. And a light bulb just went off when you were speaking. Even yesterday needs to be preserved. So even yesterday we made history. And so in 2020, we made history during the COVID years. And, you know, I think sometimes we tie history to decades in the past, or monumental occurrences. But every day is history. So we're actively preserving just yesterday to tell that story for the future. So that's great. And also just want to say that during COVID, I know a lot of museums closed.
Yes.
Does your organization support those museums that close as far as making sure that those artifacts that those museums you know, had on display, do they go to other museums, or is there preservation that's tied to that? How does that work?
If we know about it in enough time, we absolutely do help. The problem with museums in general is when we get in trouble, we're not thinking about cultural institutions in general. I can tell you that. We're always in a perpetual loop. And I'm not just saying in the Black museum field. I'm talking about writ large, the whole entire field. We're always in a perpetual loop of, oh my goodness, what happens if I can't open up my doors tomorrow because I can only make payroll. When you think like that, or when you don't have an option to actually think outside the box, by the time there's something, you know, detrimental that happens, like COVID or a hurricane or something like that, you don't necessarily have enough time to say, oh, by the way, AAAM or some of the other professional organizations, I'm having a problem. Can you help? But if we know about it in enough time, you know, we will make sure to inform, you know, some of our funders to the best of our ability, or some of our museums, like, you know, well, you're not going to keep this, but can you house it? Something like that. Because, you know, people are sensitive about their stuff. They want their stuff back, and rightfully so. But, you know, can you house this for a little bit, or can we find, you know, some type of storage for you? As long as we know, we will work very hard to make sure that those artifacts are preserved. And that's part of our advocacy as well. As long as we know, we will definitely help.
Thank you. Reggie?
With that, we're going to hold you right there and bring you back after the break. So thank you much for everything. And we'll see everyone after the break. Thank you.
Did you know Antietam Broadband offers an affordable, reliable home phone solution? Get unlimited local and U.S. long distance, plus call waiting, caller ID, voicemail, and more. Switching your home phone service to Antietam is easy, and you can keep your same number. Antietam Broadband, the reliable choice. Make the switch and start saving today. Add home phone service from Antietam Broadband. Call 301-797-5000 today.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient location for students to earn a bachelor's, master's, or even doctoral degree. Located in downtown Hagerstown, USMH offers more than 20 degrees from 7 Maryland state universities. Classes are taught by the same professors you would find at your home institution, and your degree comes from that university too. Regional tuition rates are available for select counties in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. There is even student housing within walking distance of the campus. Simply apply for transfer admission at the university that offers your program. Scholarships are available both from USMH and individual universities. With flexible scheduling, small class sizes, and state-of-the-art facilities, there's no better time to complete your degree. Apply today. University System of Maryland at Hagerstown. Academic excellence, outstanding value.
We see, and there's pictures embedded in my mind of, for example, a little 3-year-old girl who's carrying bags of things that her mom had selected, and her mom before her is in here as well. So generations where you can see that this is a special place, something for them to be able to select a neat gift. And to see that transcend across generations is just a great thing.
This is what it can feel like when you outgrow your internet speed. Chances are you have more internet-connected devices in your home than you did a year ago. Switch to Antietam Internet for the right fit for all your devices. Antietam Broadband delivers the speed and reliability you need with professional installation and no contracts. Sign up for internet service today and get speeds up to 1 gig. Call or visit AntietamBroadband.com.
Welcome back to the show. Vidette, in our community, in our community at large, not just talking about us here in Washington County, but also Frederick, we have small museums and organizations that are a part of historic preservation in the African American community. What would you say to them is the benefits of joining arms with you and becoming members of your organization?
Well, first and foremost, I want to applaud you guys for the work that you've been doing. You know, I've been following you. I get so excited whenever you post something. I'm like, oh, yes, thank you so much. Thank you for preserving the stuff. So, you know, I am just thrilled with the work that you're doing, you know, the whole entire county. But joining AAAM would be, to me, a benefit because not only are you, you know, you already have the preservation thing on lock, but you get a chance to have conversations with other industry leaders and other professionals to just iron sharpening iron. And that's really what AAAM is about. Some people come to us and they, you know, they're just starting a museum and they're like, I don't even know where to start. Where do I go? And then we also have museums that are part of the Smithsonian that, you know, are everybody wants to go to the Smithsonian to make sure that they have that level of expertise. So the beauty of AAAM is just iron sharpening iron, also making sure that you have the resources that you need. I mean, yeah, you have, you know, superb grants in Maryland for preserving African American history and culture, but then there's also funds that you can receive on the national level for what you're doing that folks would absolutely love to be part of. And then just being able to be connected to other organizations that are doing the same thing that you're doing. I feel that community, that building of community is really, really important because sometimes you look to the right and the left of you and you're just like, nobody understands, man. I can't, I don't know where to go. But when you come to AAAM, somebody will always know because somebody has always been there.
Got it. You know, the one thing that I've noticed with many small organizations in our community and in this region is that they have been able to get access to capital dollars, but it's always the operational side and building capacity that is the struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. What I can tell you that people like to give to buildings. They like to be able to give to things that are tangible. They like to see their name on a brick. They like to see their name on a wall. But if you speak to them about doing it in tandem, I need you to give to the building, but can you please, you know, put some money towards capacity building? And then in some instances, more times than not, they'll give if you say that it's for both. And something else that I've noticed is if you go after funding and you specifically say, I need capacity funds, and you know that there's an organization that also has received funding for capacity building, that helps out a lot as well. And sometimes capacity building can look like, I need funding so that I can find grant writers to help me find more funding. Yes. Right? Something like that. Like I am the person who will be in charge of the funding, but I need to have people who help me find the funding because I am only one person. And sometimes capacity building looks like hey, and by the way, I want to do a fundraising feasibility study because I cannot raise this money without knowing where the money really should go, or what the field is looking at, or what the community is looking at, what the community is saying that they would like to fund versus what you absolutely need to fund. And sometimes having that in writing helps a lot. So those are two things that I always recommend to our members, to make sure that when you're looking at capacity, because the capacity feasibility study will also show where you need people. And I mean,
Yes.
and sometimes, once you can show it on paper, it's so crazy. You could tell people until you're blue in the face verbally what you need, but until you can show it on paper, and sometimes it's through a crazy study. Once you can show it on paper and it's in black and white, I always say documentation beats conversation. That's what my grandfather used to tell me. Don't come to me just talking, girl. Put it in a document. So I got really really good at telling him what I needed in writing. But sometimes if you are able to show where that money needs to go, then sometimes it majority of the time it works out a little better if you can show in writing what it is.
I really like that. I really like your saying again. Give me that saying one more time.
Oh, the documentation beats conversation. I'm sure my grandfather got it from somewhere else. I know Jay-Z said it at one point.
But that's okay. It's getting hijacked. I will be using it here.
Yeah, I'm going to use that one too, Reggie, just for the record. I like that.
Jim.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to turn our attention just for a minute about what are the current initiatives? What things do you have going on? What projects would you like to talk about for us that your organization is undertaking today?
So right now I'm on a hiatus because of Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
So what we usually do for Black History Month is raise the visibility of our museum. So once they tell us what's going on, we put it on our website. We'll send it out on social media, but then we also make sure that we put it on in our Monday rollouts to members. And what we are really gearing up for is our conference in August. So very soon, as of next month, March 1st, we will be hitting the ground running to make sure that we have all of the components for August. Conferences don't just happen overnight for us because so many people are coming in from so many places. And then also, it's the fear of flying and the fear of, COVID and what's happening on the ground in Florida. So we just have to also be really cautious and listening to our members. So we're doing those things. And usually at our conference is way different. I always look at it as a place where not only are we sharing ideas and having people who are subject matter expertise on panels, but then we also have our keynote conversations. We always try to make sure that it's very relevant to what the needs of our members are. So because of that, this year, I don't know who we're going to have. The committee hasn't told us yet, but we will be working diligently to make sure that the museum members have what they need. And last year, we were blessed to have Robert Smith speak to our members, and it was just an amazing time. He actually spoke to us about how to raise funds. So that was pretty cool, because how often do you get to have a billionaire tell you how to go after their funds? And we will always take the challenge to figure out what billionaires want and how we can apply for their funds. So it's just been a very great time at our conferences, but then also we get a chance to just relax, relate, and release.
Great. Thank you. Reggie?
Thank you.
Let's take time for a break, and we'll be right back.
Did you know that by bundling your cable services, you can save on your monthly bill? It's true. Antietam Broadband provides affordable bundling options, so you can combine high-speed internet, cable TV, and home phone all on one convenient monthly bill and save, well, a bundle. Antietam Broadband, the affordable choice. Save hundreds of dollars per year when you bundle high-speed internet, cable TV, and home phone from Antietam. Call 301-797-5000 or visit AntietamBroadband.com and start saving today.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick, and at my shop, we offer many products to help market your business. Let me show you a few ideas. We offer stunning graphic design, quality printing, addressing and mailing too. Need a trade show display? We create booths that draw a crowd. Does your retail signage need a facelift? We can help. We can even turn your vehicle into a full-time salesman. Stop by and see us today. Other printers might be nearby, but no one else comes close to CopyQuick.
Every piece of jewelry really, if you step back from it, has more to do with the emotion behind the person that's giving the gift. It's really an amazing thing. That transcends whatever the value, the material value of the item is. It is something that has such meaning that, you know, we see generations many years later. It's the love that's between two people that really transcends the item itself.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport? Conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore, we have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
At Customizers, we understand that it's not the destination, it's the journey. Whatever your personal needs are for automotive freedom, Customizers is committed to helping you achieve your own independence. Visit our facility and choose from our huge selection of new and used mobility vans, scooter lifts, hand controls, transfer seats, and accessories. At Customizers, we believe that staying at home is not an option. Customizers Mobility in Hagerstown, located off Interstate 81 Exit 10A on Pennsylvania Avenue.
It begins with a click, and just like that, you are immersed in a world of wonder, education, entertainment, information. Connect with family and friends from around the block or around the world. So, when it's time to connect, Antietam Broadband will be there to make it happen. Now offering speeds up to 1 gig. Antietam Broadband, connecting you to what's important.
Welcome back. Terrence, you're first up. With that, you have shared a lot of amazing information with us. But first, share with our viewers your website again for them to go and to find the resources that are available there for us.
Sure. So our website is www.blackmuseums.org.
Excellent. Excellent. You know, as I was saying, that we have some museums in our region that are trying to get themselves off the ground. Hopefully this information will be invaluable then to relate and reach out to your organization. Also, just one piece of clarification. Is it only museums or is it historic places that you have relationships with as well?
It's any organization that has a cultural influence. So not just museums, but historical societies. We have a couple of members that are from humanities societies, just any organization that has a general interest in how to interpret African American history and culture to the utmost respect level.
Got it. Terrence, I'm going to give you the last word.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was on your website trying to get some of that billionaire advice. I was looking. I see that it was recorded last year, so you can go back to it. So that's some good information. I would just again, thank you for all that you do, and thank you for coming on today. But I want to hear what can the community do for your organization, and what does the future look like for your organization?
Those are two really good questions, Terrence. So number one, I always tell people, if you want to help AAAM out and you do not have the funds for it, or if you do have the funds, please donate. But if you do not have the funds, the easiest thing to do is just share our page. Share what if you're on our website and you see something that is of interest to you, then just share it. If you're on social media, the best thing is just word of mouth. To make sure that people, know who we are and know about the amazing work that we're doing. And then also for our future, oh gosh, that's such a tall question. Come back to me in 5 years. But I feel that the future of AAAM is strong. I feel that our members, they're just so amazing. I have been blessed, I feel, and I know that I'm going to sound biased, but I have just been blessed with the most amazing members on the planet. And a lot of that is because we treat one another like family. When people have deaths in their family, we check in, and likewise, they check in on me. It's just this circle of love that we have. And I know that that's the reason that we have thrived for so long. And that's really the backbone of our organization. So as long as we are leading with love, and as long as we are making sure that, we're supporting one another to the best of our ability and then beyond, which we all do, I know that the future of AAAM is going to be super strong. There's no doubt in my mind.
And I agree. Thank you again.
Vidette, thank you so very much. And just know that we're not going to wait 5 years to hear from you again in regards to the wonderful things that your organization is doing. But that is all the time that we have for tonight. We hope that you will like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and send us your comments to feedback@theflipsidetv.com. That is feedback@theflipsidetv.com. But most importantly, we hope you'll join us again next week for another episode of The Flip Side.
In the beginning, there was dial-up. Slow as syrup dial-up. When 3 megabits arrived, it felt like riding a cyclone with your hands in the air. Until 100 megabits sent you surfing with glee on a cavernous pipeline of bits and bytes. Which brings us to 1 gig. That's 1,000 megabits per second from Antietam Broadband. We're about to break the internet speed barrier. Washington County deserves the fastest internet. Get Flight Gigabit today from Antietam. Internet redefined.
For more than 10 years, the University System of Maryland at Hagerstown has been providing a local higher education option for students in the Quad State region. With more than 20 undergraduate and graduate programs from 6 Maryland State universities, there are many opportunities to earn your degree while saving on the cost of commuting.
Financial benefits to attending the program have been significant.
USMH, academic excellence, outstanding value.
People, tend to want to do things with people they know and trust and respect. And so we see that that's something that happens again and again, and customers are repeat customers because they have that feeling. And the word of mouth that they share with one another and to their peers is so important in terms of generating additional business from us because they really like the feeling that this is a place you can feel good about.
Do you suffer from varicose veins? At the Laser Vein Institute, we can have you go from this to this with just 1 EVLT treatment.
It's a minimally invasive procedure that is extremely safe and effective.
I am so glad that my doctor recommended the VenaCure procedure.
My legs look great. I can thank VenaCure for that.
The VenaCure EVLT system uses precise laser energy to seal veins shut.
The procedure is covered by most insurance companies.
Find the new you at the Laser Vein Institute. Call for your consultation today.
Bye, Janet. It's nice seeing you again. You look good, girl. Just let me know what I can do to help.
Well, to help me, she'd have to help every day. Every hour, every ouch, every time my wife calls for help. I mean, maybe she could help me make her lunch. But the crust, all the crust has to be cut off the corners. She could help me run to the doctor for the 5th time this week. Help me with the specialist and the second opinions and the painful paperwork about paperwork. Help me deal with how hard it is seeing my wife's name on so much paperwork. But this is on me. I'm the only one who can do this, like this, for her. Besides,
take care.
We will. Janet doesn't like her cooking anyway.
Find support for your strength. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community.